Welcome to Fashionista Activista, the podcast where style meets activism. I'm your host, Diana Diaz, and in each episode, we'll dive deep into the inspiring journeys of women business owners in Los Angeles, with a special spotlight on women of color. Join us as we celebrate the power, diversity, and creativity of underrepresented Latin women, youth, and queer communities through their captivating conversations and high-quality content. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fashionista Activista, brought to you by the Goddess Mercado New Economics for Women and Kaiser Permanente. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you're all excited to learn a little bit more about how fashion is also a form of activism. And because of that, I brought a very special guest, a dear friend of mine, and my vecina. I love to brag because everybody asks me, "Your vecina la muerte." This is Maria Scott. And Maria Scott is founder and owner of Sweet Treats Galore, who currently has a huge following. She's going to tell us a little bit more about both businesses and her business journey. And she's better known most recently this past year as La Muerte Maria. I know you've seen her at Dodger Stadium with that whole Muerte big, huge... I don't know how they let you in because I was trying to take a little crown. And they're like, you got to take that back to the car. So welcome, Maria. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Maria is one of my vecinas. She's also from City Terrace. And if you can briefly tell us a little bit, of your roots in City Terrace, how you grew up, where you grew up, and your inspiration behind, your business journey.
Well, I was originally from Aliso Village. And then we moved to City Terrace right on Hicks. Bought our first home there, and I went to Evergreen Elementary, and that's where I graduated from.
And you did tell me earlier, that you moved around several times, that your parents owned several homes in the neighborhood. But even though you moved around, you decided to come back to City Terrace. Why is that?
City Terrace is like the center of everything. It's the perfect location for anywhere you want to be at in LA. It's so close to Hollywood, Anaheim. It's the ideal place and community, and that's where I grew up.
I'm so glad that you're in City Terrace, and in fact, I have to add this because I met you at a street festival in City Terrace.
Yes.
That's why it's so important to have spaces like the Goddess Mercado, because it allows for you to meet local community, your vecinos, your vecinas, and you make connections and you talk about the needs and the change and the impact that we all have to be a part of. And I'm so glad that I met you and that we hit it off, and that we both hit it off because, we're both entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, as a child, you told me that you learned entrepreneurship, that, you learn all these traits and skills that you didn't think were going to inspire you, but you tell us about everything that you learned and out of necessity.
My dad was a hustler, I guess. That's the word now, right? He was very into working for himself and being an entrepreneur and just getting into different events and different things, no matter where it took him. Obviously he wanted the ultimate, and become famous and rich and all that. But it didn't happen that way. But he taught me how to silk screen, to sew, to be creative. He was, artistic in his own way. And
silk screen.
Yeah.
What about that?
Well, silk screening it's big now. But back then we did everything from home. He showed us how to make our own frames and putting the different solutions and developing it in the sun. And
exactly.
Yes, and we painted. And he didn't let us slave labor. Oh my God, no, just kidding.
Did you enjoy doing it or what?
Yes and no. He would keep us from school just to work, just to make his quotas. He did the Olympics once. I forgot what year it was that they were here. And he got a spot off what's that street?
But he sold for the Olympics.
Well, you know how everybody had been, mercados or, pop-ups. And he did a whole thing there and he made a lot of money that time. But we were right there sewing in the sewing machines, making shirts for him, screening and doing all kinds of stuff.
How far that's amazing that he used the kids, that he nurtured the entrepreneurial spirit. How far did he go in his business? Did he have a brick and mortar?
No, he never had a brick and mortar. Well, you know what? Yes and no, because he would have different locations. Like he would have spots in different people's, like, pretty much kind of what you have here. So yeah, I mean, he was always into something. I mean, I know he had a produce market one time when we used to live in on 100th Street in South Central. And then he did something for was it Buena Visión? He used to do videos and stuff like that right there on Eastern, that building right on the corner next to the Dolores.
Yeah.
It was a cable company there, and he used to work for them too. So he used to do all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome. And where's your dad now?
He passed. He passed in 2005.
So sorry. But you obviously learned a lot from him.
I did.
What
got to do's and don'ts.
What do you mean don'ts?
He wasn't very good with managing his money. So, I mean, we've had amazing homes, one on City Terrace, and then we ended up, after he lost that one, because, mismanaging his money, we moved out to South Central, which that home on 51st Street paid for itself, but he still managed to lose that too. And then we bought another one in 100th Street. It always amazed me how, I mean, I felt, we didn't have much, but we were able to buy homes too. So
and during that time, the homes were a little bit more affordable. But one thing that I have learned in talking to the community is that financial empowerment, financial literacy part wasn't really being taught to our parents, to that generation. So if your dad, was ambitious and taking risk and using that money with these risks, that's what contributed to the loss. And sometimes, when they're young entrepreneurs, are not really knowledgeable on how to manage the money or save money, and that also hinders. So you learned a lot, and you had a tough upbringing.
Very tough.
And what was the most important skill that you learned from growing up in an entrepreneurial household?
Surviving and just going for it and do what you want to do.
What do you mean surviving? Surviving what?
Just life. Just life. It was hard. Yeah.
I know it's hard to talk about because you and I share similar experience, and
getting emotional.
I have tissue. I have toilet paper. Se me olvidó the tissue.
We have toilet paper.
But I have a similar experience. And growing up, in the 80s, our communities didn't have as much visibility or empowerment like we do now, which is something that you bring. You bring a lot of visibility and empowerment to our community. It's
I'm trying.
Those are tears of joy because you remember everything you overcame, and we're lucky to be here. A lot of people from our generation, boys from my community, my own brother, is no longer here because of what happened during that time. But because of everything that you went through, everything you overcame, you are the Maria you are today.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Sweet Treats. You told me you were married for like 20-something years.
Yes, I was married for 22 years. High school sweetheart, my first boyfriend.
And did you start your business during that time?
No, I did not. I did it after. I was working 2 jobs, obviously, because I was taking care of my 2 kids. I raised them. I supported them. I took care of them. I did everything on my own because he chose not to be there even when we weren't together anymore. But yeah, I was working security at Alley Live and a teacher for Alley USD. And where I just came across a cake pop on Instagram and said, oh, I could do that. And it just took off from there. I made my first cake pops. They were hideous, but tasted great.
You didn't go to culinary school?
I did not go to culinary school. I was self-taught. I just, trial and error. I mean, and practice makes perfect.
So if you haven't seen her baking, you can follow her on Sweet Treats Galore.
Yeah.
She has over 34,000 followers, and you catered and created pastry decorations for like celebrities and
Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Hart's my only celebrity client. That's because Tori Hart, his ex-wife, has her, what's the name? Her party planner that she always works with, and they love my work. So when they want something exactly what they're looking for, then, they call me.
Custom,
yeah, and unique.
Yeah, you made some custom Mexi Chic Sacred Heart cookies for me.
Yeah.
I took them to a party. They were a hit. Your work is amazing. And you know what fascinated me the most, Maria, is that even though you had this successful baking business, I even went to your house. I saw your trays, all your equipment, all of your artistry, and you already had a business that was thriving. You're a full-time teacher for LAUSD. All of a sudden, you're like, hey, I'm a Catrina now. La Muerte Maria. I was like, what? But take us through that journey. Why all of a sudden another task? Because you're still doing the baking.
Because I love to create. Not only that, I wanted to do something that represented me and my culture. So I was a model for a makeup team last year, and I think I did like 4 events for them. And it just, it was just eye-opening. I just loved it. I mean, I've always loved the Day of the Dead. I've always loved going to the different events. I actually met Gina and Gus years back, and I wanted to do a whole photo shoot with my second ex-husband, which that never happened, thank God. Anyways, and I have always done it, but just, at a basic scale, nothing like I do now.
Why was it so important for you to choose something that that promoted our culture?
Because it's promoting our culture, and our culture is amazing. It's beautiful. It's in everything. Everybody loves our culture and uses it. It's like the food, the clothing, the traditions. It's just beautiful. It's amazing. And not only that, I was learning myself, because growing up, they didn't teach us our culture. It was just, my parents wanted to learn English, and we were in America, and never did I experience any of my traditions with them. So I'm doing it now.
And we're so proud of you, because I was telling you earlier when you're telling me about your childhood, and you're like, is this therapy?
You made me cry again.
It's not therapy, but the work that you're creating is therapy. It's therapeutic. Like I asked you, how many hours? Take us through that process. Through the process of becoming La Muerte Maria.
Makeup alone, because I do it on myself, is what, anywhere between 4.5 to 6.5 hours, depending on all the detail and what I want to do. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to create until
4.5 hours of makeup.
Just makeup, yeah.
Who does the makeup?
I do it myself. I'm self-taught. Self-taught. I create my own stencils. I found an amazing makeup line that I love, because it's pretty much, it's kind of waterproof, and it doesn't smear, it doesn't smudge, it dries instantly, and it's amazing.
This is incredible to me, because on top of you being a mother, not just to your children, but also to your cats, to all your pets, being a full-time teacher, baking, and you still have your loyal clients.
Yes.
It's amazing work that you do. But you're also transforming yourself into La Muerte Maria, and I see you at events from like Thursday night through Sunday night. And the only
back to back, nonstop.
How do you do the 4 hours of makeup a day?
Well, sometimes I'll keep the same makeup and retouch it, and sometimes I can't. Like,
what do you mean? What makes us see?
Like a mummy. Seriously, because it's so much work. Because if you have to be at an event at 7 a.m, I have to get up 5 hours before that.
Oh my God.
Not really even sleep. So during that season, the main peak season, I lose at least 15 pounds. One, I hardly sleep. I don't eat. I don't drink, for the fact that once I'm already done, I don't want to ruin the makeup.
Yeah.
And then not only that, in these big old gowns, and half the places don't have bathrooms, how am I going to squeeze myself into a porta potty?
You know what?
I refuse. I refuse.
That makes a lot of sense.
But people don't understand.
I didn't understand that.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot. It's very hard on the body, and it's a lot of work. From the moment you start putting on your makeup to the end of the night, and then depending if you're going to have another event the following day.
So, wait a minute. Take me back. Before we continue our inspiring conversation, we want to acknowledge our sponsor, New Economics for Women. New helps individuals and families improve their income, wealth, assets, social, and educational status across generations. Their focus on education, entrepreneurship, and home ownership prepares communities to thrive. Thank you, New. Now let's get back to our conversation filled with fashionista flair.
You put on the 4 hours of makeup. You go to this event without eating, without drinking, without pooping, without peeing.
I get it all out of the
Yeah. And then you come home.
And then that's when I will eat, and then by that time my stomach is just like,
But yeah, because you do look slimmer. I sleep like this.
yeah. Well, not like that because then I'm gonna ruin my chest.
I wouldn't be able to do that because I sleep. You see this wrinkle right here? Like I sleep with my face down. I tried like when I was pregnant to sleep with the face. I couldn't. It was terrible for me. So that is amazing. And
last season, oh my God, I had PTSD after the season.
Why?
Because I was saving the makeup. So the makeup, I don't have to drive all the way to get the makeup done and stuff like that. So after the season, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I didn't have it anymore. So for a while, it took me, a couple of weeks to be like, okay, I was able to sleep normally again.
So tell me, that's funny. But tell me about the things we have to do. People don't understand. Business women. We're business. That's what it takes. Sacrifice, discipline, time,
hard work.
Hard work. That's admirable.
And you know what? And never give up. Never give. If you have something that you want to do, you know what? Just go for it and do it. What's the worst thing that could happen? You fail. Okay, then try it again.
Get up.
Get up and
do it again. I want to ask you something. The makeup. You're leaving that makeup on all day from like day to the morning. So I'm assuming that you're buying very high quality makeup to take care of your skin.
I buy Pro Air. It's a Pro Air. Yeah, it's a professional makeup artist makeup that I came across and I love it.
And it's not an intentional plug, but a lot of the women that are watching, a lot of our vendor community also wants to dabble a little bit in the Katrina, in that look, because we are all collectively increasing visibility of our culture, of our cultural celebrations. And
we need to do it even more now.
And what did you say earlier? Like, we have to celebrate it all year long.
Oh, yes. Why should we save it for one season and one weekend or one day? I mean, our culture is our culture and it's with us all the time. But our loved ones that pass, people die every day. And you even coming into the store and, something will remind you of your grandmother, your mom, your dad, So that's why I do it for events, like sporting events or other types of events that are not Day of the Dead, because it brings people joy to see me. And they tell me and they message me like, oh my God, I was so glad to see you there. It reminded me when I used to do this with my dad or my uncle or my mom or, a loved one that had passed. So it's just like, that's kind of why I do it. Don't make me cry again.
It's beautiful because this is another reason why I love my vecina so much. My vecina and the Goddess Mercado, because it brought us closer together without even realizing that we share similar passions. But whenever she's done with the event and it's the day of the Mercado, she's like, vecina, are you there? There I go. Only 10 minutes. Be ready. Get some content. And she's doing this so unselfishly to help the Mercado, to bring some joy to these women. And she parades herself and lets everyone take pictures. And I think that's so beautiful and so generous of you and the outfit. This is what you got to share, because you have a lot of fans here. They all want to know those dresses, because you are sharing on your social media how you're hand stitching and gluing, pegando todo. Like,
it's a lot of work.
What? You make every single one of those dresses and headpieces. Tell us about that.
I don't make the quinceañera dresses themselves. I do buy those.
Tell us about the quinceañera dress.
I mean, the quinceañera dress is just, it's part of our culture too.
Yeah.
So why not incorporate it? I mean, it's going to take me so much money to make something like that and the time that I don't have. So I do buy quinceañera dresses. But a lot of the other dresses I do make, like my loteria one I made, my lucha libre,
the Maria Felix.
The Maria Felix. Oh, that one I got a custom. Everything I design and I create in my head and hopefully, bring it to life. And that year I had, and Anna?
Yeah, Anna.
Yeah. Yeah, I commissioned a piece for her to paint Maria Felix on my dress.
That was gorgeous.
That was
One of my favorites.
chingona.
That belongs in a museum.
La Adelita.
She painted Maria Felix Adelita, and you were the Maria Felix Catherine. It was
Yes.
so everyone.
Yeah.
And my favorite, of course, is the Dodger one. I couldn't believe the amount of work that went into that.
Well, not only
Tell us about that.
the money. So I bought what is it? Something in Ness. I can never remember the brand. A Letterman jacket. The Letterman jacket was $400, but I did it just for the logos because I was having such a hard time to finding the logo.
So you ripped off the logos?
I cut them with scissors. I cut up a $400 jacket, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what is she doing?" I'm all like, "This is what I need, and this is what I have to do to get what I want to."
That's what it takes. That's what it takes.
And not only that, it's stimulating the economy, and I'm buying the logos from the creators, and not just
You said something there.
stealing it.
How is La Muerte Maria helping stimulate the economy?
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you how. What I see and what I hear, it's that you're inspiring.
Oh yeah.
Your activism, because your fashion, your persona, your brand is a form of activism, and you're inspiring others like myself and the youth that I work with and the vendors to create. So all of a sudden, I'm working with all these vendors that are like, "Oh, I got inspired by La Muerte Maria," and I will say, "That's my neighbor. I know her. She's my friend." But they're inspired to create crowns. They're making templates for the face painting, because you've shared a lot of your secrets on social media. It doesn't scare you that somebody's going to take those secrets and replicate La Muerte Maria?
It's not something that hasn't been done before. So if somebody can make a business out of it and create something that, that's going to help them, why not? I mean, like my hat, I've inspired so many people to make that big old sombrero that never in their wildest dreams thought they would be able to use an umbrella to create it. So, I mean, why not? And I've seen them. They've come up to me and told me and shared it. And I'm actually friends with one of them that created my hat. Like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you inspired me to make this hat. I did it because of you." And we took pictures together and stuff like that. So that part is another part that's like amazing.
It's amazing. You are amazing. And if you haven't seen the process, go to her Instagram, La Muerte Maria. Check out her process, how she becomes La Muerte, how she creates these dresses. She uses a huge umbrella. She uses cardboard. She uses foam. She uses swimming pool pipe. Like, she's
Everything.
I cried watching, like, "Oh my God." And you speed it up. And I always think, I can't imagine where you store all those supplies, all that it could.
Well, all my caterings are gone, and now there's storage for all the dresses and hats.
Now, is it okay to share what has been your best and biggest job that you've gotten and experience that you've gotten from becoming La Muerte Maria?
What do you mean by job, though? I don't understand.
Well, now you're being hired. You did it as a hobby.
Okay.
Because when you first came out of La Maria, you were just going places. You weren't getting paid. This is what you told me.
Well, no,
You're like, "I'm just showing up."
And then I've only gotten paid for 3 events even this year. So I'm still, and hopefully now it's going to take off and pay off. But I did an event for the Clippers. They contracted me to do their Dia de
I saw the Clifford dress.
Yeah, so they contracted me to design a dress for them and then to, show up and present it. And they were a little scared. They didn't trust the process until they finally saw it. They were just in awe and they loved it. They're like, "Oh my God," all the detail and just, it was spot on and it was perfect. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And what about the American Cancer Society one?
That one, I wanted to do it for last year for an event for you. And I didn't have the time. I was just, busy doing everything.
What do you mean? Like, how long does it take to make a dress? What's the longest it's taking you to design it?
I'm a procrastinator. So I and that's the bad thing. So I'll do it, I'll crush it and do it the night before.
Wow.
So that hat, I did it in like the pink hat for the breast cancer awareness. I did it the night before the event. And it just only took me like a couple of hours.
And you know what? This is a good segue into, our final question that I like to ask all of my guests. And this is something that I grew up with. My mom used to say, "No huevonas, no quiero huevonas." And I told you earlier what huevona means, right? you procrastinate, but you still get up and you still do it. And even though you don't sleep all night or you have an event all night, what do you do? How do you incorporate, what skills do you incorporate into your life that help you get out of this huevona mindset? That mindset that prevents many of us from actually executing and becoming that brand, that entrepreneur, that business that we all hope to become.
I just do it. You just have to get your butt up and do it. Nobody's going to do it for you. It's not going to get handed to you. If you don't put in the work, it's not going to get accomplished. So I just,
you don't have a choice.
If you want something bad enough for yourself, then you get up and you do it. There's no excuses.
How badly do you want this?
Can't you tell?
4.5 hours of me durmiendo.
La Momia Maria. We're going to change my name to La Momia Maria.
What's next for you, Maria?
One next weekend, there's the photo meetup that Viva los Muertos, Jean and Gus created for anybody that wants.
Gus Mejia.
Gus Mejia.
And Styled by Jean.
Styles by Jean.
Gotta give them a shout out because they're also part of this amazing movement.
Yeah.
I hope they get to see this so they could see how much you admire them. When we, our community, needs to continue to support them. They're also part of a huge movement.
I went and supported her this weekend.
Yes.
She had her exhibit at Viva Mia?
Yeah. No, Mi Vida.
Mi Vida. Sorry. Sorry.
They're badass.
Yeah, Mi Vida. So, yeah, I mean, I'm out there to support. Yeah, they're amazing. So, any Catrinas that want to start, it doesn't matter how big or how small. If you have that feeling and you want to start it, do it. Let's go to this photo meetup next weekend. Location has not been revealed, but I will put it on my social media.
And also, December 14th, La Muerte Maria will be coming to the Goddess Mercado to do a meet and greet. It's a goddess.
I'll be in Mexico, I think.
Oh, yeah. We'll take that back.
I'm going to La Huasteca.
She's got it.
Let me make sure.
That's another way to get inspired and recharge, to take a little trip and have another experience so you could come back with new energy, new vibes. And we take a break in January and we'll be back in February. Hopefully, La Muerte Maria will be available. And if not, where can we find you? Tell us your social media handles, your website, that anybody that wants to tag you or watch your journey and your story.
La Muerte Maria, no spaces, no underscores, all one word, on Instagram and TikTok.
We'll also be adding her on the credits. But we want to give La Muerte Maria, Sweet Treats Galore, my vecina, the City Terrace, a big thank you for showing up and being vulnerable. Also for sharing her business journey and for reminding us that our visibility, our fashion is a form of activism. I am wearing everything that I've secured at the Goddess Mercado, at the Goddess Mercado Boutique. My jacket, I used to sell this. I got my vendor from Monica Sainz, my personal stylist. This necklace I actually bought from a vendor. My sacred bathing crown, some jewelry that I bartered from my clientes. I want to inspire you to continue supporting locals and continue expressing your culture and your fashion so we could increase awareness, tolerance, and acceptance. Thank you very much for joining us at the Goddess Mercado Fashionista Activista Podcast. ¡Mua! Los quiero. Con todo mi corazón, we want to thank New Economics for Women, SoCal Gas, and Kaiser Permanente, and to you, our beautiful listeners, for being the heartbeat of Fashionista Activista. Vamos adelante with more stories, more laughter, and moments of inspiration that knit our communities ever so close. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on social media. Hasta la próxima, goddesses.